What is going on, everybody? It is Dr. Light94 here, back with another video for you all. And today we are going to be looking at the brand new promo ship just announced for Star Trek Online. The Janeway class Command Science Vessel. Now, since I'm probably not going to end up getting this ship, I might not have the most perfect review out there. However, considering it is both a prominent promo ship and it is a science vessel, of which science tends to be my specialty, I felt I was obliged to go ahead and do a review for you all, so that way you could evaluate for yourselves whether you think it's worth a promo level investment. I will go ahead and break down my thoughts on that later. As for how this video is going to go, I have the blog describing the ship right here. I'm going to go through it, break it down a little bit, put my general thoughts in there, and then if you look up here, I have some comparisons of maybe some less overly expensive options for you to pick if you'd like this style of a ship. And after that, I'm going to break down on what I think you should get as either for this or a substitute for this, and what my thoughts are of the ship as a whole and whether it's worth the promo price. Because I'm be honest, since you're not going to be able to get it from the event campaign this year, since it's coming out past December the 31st, 2020, it's yet to be determined whether this is going to be one of those amazing promo level worthy ships or not. So, with that said, I went ahead and put this video right here at the beginning of the video, so you could kind of see how it looks flying in space, what little we have of it. It is from Season 3 of Star Trek Discovery, and it is the USS Voyager J, NCC 74656-J. You can see a quote right here. USS Voyager J, that's, 10 generations of evolution? So that's Tilly and Oasikon talking about, this is when they arrive at Starfleet HQ in the 32nd century and just are mesmerized that the Federation has lasted long enough to have 11 generations of a single starship. So that's kind of cool. So, going on through the blog here, from March 4th to March 25th, we're running a promotion that'll provide additional bonuses when opening R&D packs or DOF packs. The packs will have a chance to open into a rare Tier 6 ship, including the Janeway class that first appeared in Star Trek Discovery. From March 4th to March 8th, all of the packs will be 20% off, and I'm recording this here on March the 1st. This video should be going live, if all goes according to plan, sometime around noon on March the 3rd, so this will be coming up in the update tomorrow for those of you on PC. So, here's the picture of the ship right here. The Janeway class Command Science Vessel. In a distant future timeline, Federation starships have undergone a number of interesting evolutions of both technology and aesthetics. Some still reflect elements of their original lineage, though, as is true with the Janeway-class Command Science Vessel. Drawing its original inspiration from the Intrepid-class starships of the late 24th century, this ship has been updated to focus on speed and maneuverability in local space without sacrificing its scientific capabilities. Unlike classic science vessels, this ship focuses its power output on hull integrity rather than shield capacity, and has also been specifically outfitted to serve as a fleet command vessel. The ship features a Commander Science/Command Specialist Bridge Officer seat and a Lieutenant Universal/Miracle Worker Specialist Bridge Officer seat. Command ships are impressive vessels designed to inspire those around them. When the command ship or its teammates activate a Bridge Officer ability, all command ships on the team will receive a small amount of its inspiration resource. Command buff abilities generate additional inspiration, and once a command ship's inspiration meter is full, they can choose one of 3 powerful abilities to use in the battle. Which, if you've ever flown a command ship, the one with energy weapons is against all odds. Then you have one that boosts hull healing and shield healing for the team. And then you have one that reduces cooldowns for the team. So, as far as the ship details, it is a Tier 6. I'm ignoring this line right here because it really does not matter anymore. Everything's cross-faction. Throw that out the window. KDF, Romulan, it doesn't matter. You're going to be able to fly this ship. Required rank is complete the tutorial. That's natural for about any ship besides a starter ship nowadays. Hull modifier of 1.3. Shield modifier of 1.1. It's a 4-2 weapon setup, which I will admit is a bit unique for a science vessel. We'll delve into that a bit later. Put a pin in that. 3 device slots. As far as the full BOF layout, seating includes a Lieutenant Commander Tactical, Ensign Engineering, Lieutenant Commander Science, Commander Science Command, and Lieutenant Universal Miracle Worker. As far as a console layout, there's 4 Tactical, 2 Engineering, and 5 Science, a base turn rate of 14 with an impulse modifier of 0.22, with 60 inertia rating, plus 5 to engine power, and plus 15 to aux power. A universal console of photonic cannon, inspiration abilities, a 32nd Century Federation battle cloak, interesting, subsystem targeting, sensor analysis, secondary deflector slot, and a science vessel Starship Mastery package with the Starship Trait Enhanced Cloaking Integration. Admiralty stats are 21 for Engineer, 38 for Science, 37 for Tactical, with the special ability being plus 25 tactical points when alone. As for the console on this ship, it is again called the Photonic Cannon, named after a scene from Star Trek Voyager where the Doctor pretends to be an emergency command hologram that activates the Photonic Cannon to defeat his enemies. I forgot what that episode's called. I want to think Tinker Tenor Dr. Spy, but I'm not entirely sure if that's it because he had a lot of interesting scenes. But if you've watched Voyager in that particular episode and you love the character of the Doctor, this is a very humorous homage. I'll put it that way. So this weaponry was originally theorized in the late 24th century as an ingenious way to utilize photonic/holographic technology. However, an application of those theories only came to fruition with the introduction of programmable matter. Now that it has been realized, starships with both capabilities may rapidly deploy this technology while in the field. Deployment includes a sensor masking suite that acts as a defensive countermeasure for the ship, while simultaneously creating an additional source of firepower to soften up any enemy starships unfortunate enough to be lingering in your ship's forward arc. So it sounds like it adds stealth plus a debuff, if I'm interpreting that correctly. I may be wrong. We'll find out later this week when the ship actually releases. As for the Starship Trait, it is called Enhanced Cloaking Integration. Your ship systems have been tuned to grant additional benefits when entering and exiting Cloak. Entering Cloak will restore hull over time and boost maneuverability, while exiting will grant a burst of firing cycle haste for all ship weaponry. This works with any cloaking device variant. That's interesting. However, I'm curious to see how this will perform as compared to the KDF Recruit trait Improved Hunter's Instinct, and a couple others we've been getting lately. There's been a lot of cloaking support lately. And something else to note at the moment, this will probably be coming here in a couple months if they likely introduce the next lockbox as the 32nd Century lockbox, but this ship comes with 32nd Century phaser weapons. They have a chance to recover the recharge time of bridge officer abilities, providing an upfront burst of recovery and accelerating the recharge for a significant duration thereafter. Repeated triggers of the effect provide the upfront burst again and refresh the duration as the overtime bonus. The versions of the weapons that come on the Voyager J will not be upgradable, but the weapons will be available elsewhere in the future. Again, lockbox. And down here it just kind of goes and shows you all the other ships you're going to be able to get from the promo packs. So that was probably a lot to break down at once. General thoughts right off the bat about this ship. It's not a bad ship, don't get me wrong, and I'm not even saying it's the worst promo ship they've ever come out with. And certainly being the Voyager J, by lineage alone, I could justify it. At the same time, oddly enough, where I find problem with this is advertising it as a science vessel. Because, yes, it has the commander's science seat. However, if you look at how the ship's actually laid out, it has a cloak, a debuffing console, decent turn rate, a focus on hull over shields, a 4-2 layout, and a command miracle worker specialization setup. Frankly, if you're going to make this a, quote, science vessel, I would highly recommend you would make this more of a torpedo boat with a slight focus on science as a debuff/support ability. Because it's not entire. It's an odd ship, and I'm not saying it's a bad ship, but it's an odd ship because it's not really. It's not bad at one or the other as far as torp boats versus psi boats, but it's also not really great at either. It's a jack of two trades, master of neither of them. Which, again, I want to restate here. This does not make it a bad ship. Not at all. Being a Voyager, it is fairly deserving of a promo status. It's designed to be built in a very unique setup, and if you don't necessarily commit to the unique setup of how the ship's laid out, if you're going for either torpedoes or psi primarily, you might not have the best day. That's my take on it from delving down in the ship. Could be wrong, could be crazy, I don't know. That's just what screams at me when I look at it. And again, that's not to say it's a bad ship. However, if you are in fact interested of a torpedo boat with some science behind it, I do have some recommendations for, quote, torpedo boat science vessels, similar to this one. So, first off, the one that really screamed at me for comparison here is the Sona Command science vessel from the Infinity Lockbox. So you can see right here, it's similar in that it has the Commander Science command seat. It does, however, lean a bit more into a tactical seating with both a Lieutenant Commander Tactical and Lieutenant Universal, and it has intelligence instead of Miracle Worker, and it's a 3-3. And it, like normal, focuses a bit more on shields there. However, it has the inspiration abilities, and I just found it an interesting mix because this ship is a good side torp boat. Really, you could probably get by with this ship mimicking the Voyager J to a significant degree, except for the fact it's a 3-3. Speaking as a science, that's not to say 3-3 is bad. It's typical science vessel setup. However, as myself and several other of my sciencey friends have noticed lately, even though you may end up paying a premium cost for it, getting a fourth weapon slot in the front, whether it's a 4-2 or if you're going really expensive, a 4-3, it really does tend to pay off to be able to get either that extra dual beam bank debuff or that extra torpedo up in the front. It really does pay off, even if it's just for a debuff purpose. You will have a net gain in the end, because it's either you get another debuff or torpedo in the front, or you end up having to stack debuffs in omnis in the back, which, if you are not really into getting a bunch of omnis or lobby gear or whatever, then that might not necessarily be for you if you don't want to be stuck with a bunch of omnis in the back. So, anyway, it's interesting. Then you had the Tomi, which I felt also really screamed in comparison, for one significant reason being, even though the Commander Science is a pure Commander Science, it has the Miracle Worker command setup, except for the fact they're flip-flopped. Now, I would much rather consider this ship a pure science vessel over the Voyager J, for a simple reason being that the Lieutenant Science Command seat is only a Lieutenant Science Command seat. It does not support Concentrated Firepower 3, which is generally what you're looking for if you're going for more of a torpedo psi mix than just a pure psi. So, it's not to say it's a bad ship, it's a very good science ship, and the trait off it, Improved Photonic Officer, it's amazingly good. It's just, I would consider this, again, much more of a pure psi boat. Which brings us to the Herk Necrid Assembly Multi-Mission Science Vessel. And these next two ships are what I would consider probably the more similar comparison, because it has Lieutenant Commander command slot, the ability to have a lot of science seating. In fact, I think I like this seating better than the Voyager J's, to be honest, because I still get the Lieutenant Commander Tactical, but I'm not locked into my Ensign slot, and the Commander seat is universal, which means I could have Concentrated Firepower and 2 more science powers. So, and again, you have Lockbox, Lobby Store, and then the last one's going to be a Legendary Bundle. But bear in mind, where the Legendary Bundles are concerned, those are account unlock once you purchase them, whereas the promo ship, you pay the entire cost of the Legendary Bundle for a single unlock. So if you're going to spend that much money once, that's probably where I'd steer you. But anyway, it's also a 4-2, which, as I stated previously, makes a significant difference. And it's what I would say is probably the most similar to the Voyager J, except for the fact... See, another thing is, the hull modifier is also higher than the shield modifier. But except for the fact it doesn't have the Miracle Worker seat. However, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because if you're going for a torp boat, I'm not sure you would necessarily be using that Miracle Worker seat that much anyways, just because Miracle Worker does not really help pure torp boat or science, just by observation. But I mean, you feel free to prove me wrong in the comments on that. But if you're not really caring that much about the Miracle Worker seat, this would be my probably number one substitution, because you're going to be paying somewhere around 300 million as compared to 3 billion or 900 lobby, and it makes a big difference in the long run as far as cost goes for a singular ship. Because while this is, again, single character unlock like the Janeway, it's a lot cheaper for similar results if you really, really, really want that torpedo boat with a dash of science. Plus, it also has a hangar bay, which, didn't notice on the Janeway unless I was blind. And no, it doesn't have a hangar bay, so pretty much you just trade the Miracle Worker seat there for hangar bay, which frankly I'd kind of take that trade-off, to be honest. And then the last one I found for comparison, which I might argue if you were leaning more towards the science-y half of a torpedo-based science port build, is the Legendary Glen, or the Legendary Discovery. It has the fairly similar seating with the Commander Psi, except it's a temporal operative seat, which makes a big difference in how science is going to go about, because temp ops and science go together like peanut butter and jelly. They really do. It's just stupid. But then it has Lieutenant Commander Science command seat, the ensign slot's unlocked, and it's very similar to the multi-mission science vessel. In fact, if I'm looking at that correctly, it has the exact same seating, except for you trade the hangar bay out for the temp op seating there. The only problem with this seating is that your temp op seats are going to be fighting for your commander science seats, which is not necessarily the best situation. But if you have the legendary bundle already and you don't want to go get the Necrid as a substitution for the Janeway, the Glen is going to be your option, because it's count unlock, you already have it, and it's ready to go. It's also a 4-2. You'll get that concentrated firepower 3, and you'll be ready to go. So, to summarize in detail, personally, any of these 4 choices would work. I'd personally choose Necrid or the Glen if I'm going for a substitution for this. The Sona Command and the Tomi are good. They just don't have the 4-2 set up. Those are the 4 ships I found most comparable, if I could use my words today, comparable to the Janeway class here that's coming in the promo ship box later this week. Like I said to begin the summarization of the Janeway, please do not take any of this as saying this is a absolute garbage ship. It's not. Again, by name alone, being an Intrepid class variant, it is very much deserving of the promo slot. However, unless you really, really, really just want the Janeway to have the Janeway, there are other options out there. So unless you're made of money or you're stupid like me sometimes, I would highly, highly recommend you get either the Herk multi-mission science vessel or the Legendary Glen as substitutions. So, that's my take on the Janeway class coming March the 4th to Star Trek Online. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, please leave them in the comment section down below. I am happy to respond to them, and I would love to see some of your points on the matter. With all that said, this has been Dr. Light 94 here with another ship review for you guys, and I am signing out for the video. Everybody have a good night. Peace out.